So today we're going to talk about Iraq and the potential for violence there. So what's going on? Well, before we discuss that, let's first discuss a little bit about Islam, as it's important to understand the nuances. So a way that I like to describe Islam is, so in Christianity we have Catholics and Protestants. In Islam you have Sunnis and Shias. So Sunnis are sort of like the Catholics, that they came first and they were the established religion. And then Shias are like the Protestants, and particularly they're like, and historically in Europe, the Protestants were discriminated against by the Catholics. This is the way it is in the Middle East. The Shias are often discriminated against by the Sunnis, and this sets the backdrop for everything you need to know. So let's fast forward to modern day Iraq. There's two powerful Shia groups right now. So they're both Shia of the same religious sect of Islam. You have the Sadrists, and you have the coordination framework run by Nouri al-Maliki. So Nouri al-Maliki, their motivation is to be close to Iran, as their mindset is Iran's the largest Shia state. We're Shias. Let's let them influence us. So the Sadrists, they're Shia, but their motivation is we don't want anybody with outside influence in Iraq for the Iraqis. And they don't care if this is Iran or the Americans. And he's been very consistent in this over the years. So fast forward to, or let's rewind rather, to October. So last October in Iraqi parliament, the Sadrists won a majority of the parliament, overwhelmingly. And they wanted to elect the prime minister, as that's what you need in a parliament. You need a prime minister to run an efficient, effective government. So the rules state that you need either the first quorum, which is all the parliamentarians come together. You need a 2/3 majority vote. And if that fails, then in the second quorum, you just need a majority to win. So the Sadrists were going to get their choice one way or the other. The Nouri al-Maliki group, they did not like this. So all the coordination framework folks, they just said, we're not going to show up. We're just going to go sit at home and chill and, I don't know, watch Netflix or do anything other than show up to Parliament. So they're like, to the Sadrists. And this went on forever until like midsummer. And when the interim, they couldn't do a vote because you need 100% of the parliaments there in order for the first quorum. So the Sadrists kind of sat around in the office, checked their watches. After a while, there were like months and months. They're like, we're just going to go home and do literally anything else because that would be more productive than sitting here staring at the wall. So they quit. And then the Nouri al-Maliki's group said, hey, we're going to come back to work now. So they come back to work. And now that the Sadrists officially quit Parliament, that means that they were like, hey, since we're the only parliamentarians, we're all here. We just need 2/3 of the people officially in Parliament so we can determine who's the prime minister. And this made the Sadrists go kind of understandably bananas, and there was protests and there was some violence. So fast forward to recently, the Sadrists asked the judiciary, the courts, to dissolve Parliament. And the courts came back and said that, hey, we don't have the authority to do that. And then they chastised Parliament, saying, hey, you guys are being a bunch of schmucks. You're not working on behalf of the Iraqi people. You should dissolve yourselves if you had any shame. So the next time Iraqi Parliament meets will be after Arba'in, which ends on September 16th or 17th. So Arba'in is a big Shia holiday where they mourn the loss of the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad, Imam Hussein, who was brutally murdered. So it's not exactly like a fun fireworks, beer and grilling out kind of holiday. It's a very intense mourning period. So after that, Parliament's going to get back together, and they're either they're going to dissolve themselves and then reconvene for new national elections, which would be the way to escape violence. Or they're going to do another thing, that they're just going to put in a pro-Iran prime minister, in that all things could go kaput within civil and political society. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think they're going to dissolve themselves. I personally don't think there's a political will on either side for an all-out civil war, especially as think about it, the Parliament's not going to be in session to civil war, and they're going to lose their influence. So I think, out of, if anything, self-preservation, they're not going to do that, but it'll be interesting to see, and we'll find out shortly after Arba'in. So let me know. And do you like this content? Is it too long? Is it too short? Give me some feedback.